Are you familiar with Little Durk?
I am more recently familiar with Little Durk, so fan of his music. Saw that he got the key to the city in
Mm.
Chicago, which was huge. Little Woody, who is live right now, was just talking about the situation and was saying
Yeah.
how, a lot of times, we don't talk about the good things that the rappers do, giving back to the
Hmm.
community, things like that. It seemed like he was pretty involved. But what's happening here is sometimes you get involved with the wrong people. That's what happens. And we've seen it time and time again. Like, Lead, when we first met, we were covering the Nipsey Hussle murder.
Oh yeah. I even forgot about that. It's
Right?
so hard, guys, when the streets get their claws into you. I mean, it's just so hard to get out.
Hmm.
So we're going to play some videos. We got the complaint. We got the indictment. We're going to see how the feds do it. Now, we see how the prosecutors in Fulton County do it. We see how Attorney Love do it. We see how Attorney Hilton Hyatt do it. We see how Fannie do it, goddamn. How do the feds do it? Is it a little bit different? Is it a little bit more professional? Right? Let's take a look first, but to orient us. What do we got going on? This is the young man, Little Durk. How did he get involved in it? Who is he? Man, the Grammy-winning rapper Lil Durk was arrested on a federal charge near Miami International Airport on Thursday over accusations that he conspired to kill a rap rival, resulting in a fatal shooting of another person. It's always the innocent bystanders. Little Durk put out a bounty, allegedly, on the life of another rapper identified only as TB by prosecutors as retaliation for the 2020 killing of the rapper King Von, a serial killer himself, but we ain't even gonna talk about that. A member of the hip hop collective Only the Family, which Little Durk founded, according to the federal criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court. So Little Durk and King Von were thick as thieves. They were super close, and King Von was assassinated. And so y'all know in the streets, whenever there's a killing, what is there? There's retaliation. There's retribution. You got to slide, right? So they're saying that Little Durk put out a bounty on another rapper as retaliation for King Von. An FBI affidavit also says that Little Durk had been booked on at least 3 international flights that were leaving on Thursday to Italy, to Switzerland, and to Dubai in an attempt to flee the United States. He was going to get the hell on. He was gone. Little Durk, 32 years old.
He's young.
Well, 32 years old, it is young, but it's old too to be caught up in this BS.
That's right.
Right? If you're 17 and you slide, and 19, if you're 23 and throw your whole life away, you say, well, okay. Your brain isn't fully formed till you're 25 anyway. You ain't thinking right. You ain't got no damn home training. I get it. But if you're 32, shit, you're kind of old for this.
I think this is a learning lesson. I think this is a learning lesson, especially for the young kings out there. No matter how high you climb up the social ladder, how much you climb up the financial ladder, right? Even if you are giving back to your community and trying to turn it around and show a good gesture, you have to always mind the company you keep. You have to be mindful of the things that you say, the things that you do, the places that you go, the people who you surround yourself with and associate yourself with. And I understand that the whole King Von situation was a very turmoil, because even that we could spend a whole evening talking about him associating with King Von. But it would behoove me to think that he was also trying to change King Von and also tell him about how to move a particular type of way, not let people use your own money against you. This is a classic example of that. And unfortunately, that young man, made a very poor decision. I don't want to say that he's young and stuff like that, because it goes back to us being coddled. We are way too coddled as men. We are coddling these young men way too much. We have to teach them discipline, order, structure, what's right from wrong from a very young age, either in a household or in a family or community dynamic. These kids think that they have, like, their cats, like 9 lives. They can't do no wrong until they go all through 9 of them. And unfortunately, they're learning really quickly that the system is stacked against them. And today we have a lot more cameras and surveillance, and a lot of people are more brave to come forward nowadays and tell on people, right? It's not snitching. It's community prevention, right? And unfortunately, he did something that, regardless of what the circumstances were before with King Von and their issues and beef, that was also something that went against the betterment of the community. Because once you receive the key of the city and you're on a completely different platform, you should be able to take that and leverage it and put yourself even further away from the mess that's happening in the urban center. Not saying that you can't participate and be a voice, a beacon, but also you have to be also to take that key and turn it in the opposite direction, and start to kind of turn the clock back into, encouraging these young men to, put the guns down, talk about things in a much more civilized manner, because unfortunately, he's just a classic example that they're just going to use. So I
think you made an interesting point, man, especially when you talk about the intelligence and the technology that we have out here. You would think that people would actually consider that. Like there's really no way of actually doing a crime without it coming back. I think a lot of crimes are solved versus unsolved. I don't have the data to support that, but I would think with so much technology, cameras everywhere, and then even when they're still putting the pressure on people, and we've been seeing these things happening back in the day, where they would bring people and people will break because they don't want to do the time. People will cut deals with the feds and people will cut deals with the police. But we talk about the United States, and that's one thing TLA did highlight on there. This is not the state of Georgia. This is the United States. So they're pulling from everywhere possible in order to bring these people down. And you got to think about the youth as well, because these people are mimicking. And I don't understand, when you see a story like this, how can people still go out and continue to do the nonsense that they do? We don't have all the details, but if they have a strong case for them, it's not looking good. Let me get your thoughts, Coco. I know you said you was a fan of Lil Durk. How does this make you feel seeing what was said thus far?
Well, I have two perspectives from it. Like, I am shocked that he's still doing this after all the money he got. I mean, he was able to book 3 private flights to 3 different countries. And it's like, you got that level and you still in the streets. So that was disappointing. However, it's just so sad that, I know more of the history of it. He's bought that guy, his friend that snitched on him, bought him a house, took care of him when he was in jail, gave him $50,000. Like, he took care of him. But I just don't. I'm still trying to wrap my arms around what probably. I mean, I think he got in trouble on something else, and he maybe got less time. But I mean, for 3 years, it's just like, wow. And I just know he didn't see it coming. So I got two perspectives of it. You're too old for that. You got too much money. I don't understand why rappers get to this point where they don't look at like how Jay-Z and other people do it. They get out the game, they use the money for the game, and they move on. But this new generation, they stay in the streets. It's so many of them dying, and it's just like, I don't understand that part.